This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my review of Stranger Things 4. This video is coming out first because the Kenobi one's going to take longer to edit. That's why I'm just doing some background footage. But with my review of Kenobi, I'm going to also do a recap where I'm getting a lot of screenshots from the show. And although I'm going to be recording this tonight, I'm probably working on it tomorrow. Since, well, I've been watching a lot of stuff today and kind of want to play a game. So I will be streaming a game most likely. Well, it would have been last night. Yeah, I just delayed the stuff because it was around 7 o'clock when I was finishing up Stranger Things. And I realized that around like 3 I wasn't going to be able to get this stuff out. So I just pushed back the Clone Wars video and I decided to release these today. With this, yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed Stranger Things 4. This is volume 1 of it. So if you have not watched it yet, and unless you had 9 hours of free time, I'm guessing you haven't. So I am warning you, there are spoilers. I'll be talking about everything, including the big reveal at the end of it. So if you don't want to get spoiled, please stop watching. And with this, I'm going to set this up the exact same way that I reviewed the first 3 seasons, where instead of looking at the individual episodes, instead I'm going to take a look at the storylines from biggest to smallest. And this one has actually a lot of storylines going on, with the main reason of that being after the episodes are a lot longer. This is definitely the longest season of it, because even though the episode count does match that of season 2, the fact is there are a lot more episodes, or much more content in the episodes, since each of them are about an hour and 15 minutes on average. Besides, I think one that was about an hour, and another one that is nearly 2 hours long. I think it was about an hour 40. But yeah, with it, this season is extremely long so far. As I said, it's about 9 hours long. And with it, I think that they did a really good job with this season so far, and I'm really excited to see where the next 2 episodes go. And I'm also wondering how long they're going to be because I cannot confirm this, but I heard that it's going to be extremely long, and I am excited to see where this goes. Although we had a really great reveal to end off this episode, well, this episodes, and I think it was really interesting. So to start off, all of these storylines do get a good amount of development, and with it, there's ultimately 3 main storylines to follow. And I'll take a look at the biggest one, and the biggest one, honestly, it's pretty hard to figure out because all of the storylines are extremely big and they're in their own way, but I also feel good with saving the storyline with Eleven and everyone else to last because that has the biggest reveals. And with this, I don't need to really mention the part where they all meet up together because that has not happened yet. It'll be happening either in the next episode Although if it is, it's going to be towards the middle or the end of it, since the places that they're in right now. But yeah, looking at it, I think that it is really interesting to see what's going on right now because I really do enjoy it. And I'll start off with the storyline in Hawkins. And I'm sorry if I do miss a few things. I kept getting interrupted by someone using a blender. So, hope I don't miss anything. But yeah, with this, when I look at it, I think this is the biggest one because it focuses on the most characters. And it's basically a combination of two story arcs that combine into each other. While the other ones goes from one big story that splits out into three branches. And yeah, looking at this, I think that this was a really interesting storyline. Looking at the two storylines, the first one is the character of Lucas giving into peer pressure and just wanting to be among the cool kids. And with this, he quickly realizes that he is in over his head and really shouldn't be with them. And with this, he mainly realizes this as he isn't minding too much when he has to go after the guy he doesn't know too much, but he is starting to mind really when he has to go after his friends and just realizes that he can't be doing this and goes back to his original friends pretty quickly. But to take a look at the main storyline of the season, since it would cover the most of it, although it is not the most important, I'd say it's the second most important, with probably the 11 one being a little more important, although it's sort of, up there. I think you could say either one, but those are. I think this one is the more important one for the current season, but I think 11's might be more important for the final season overall. But you'll see what I talk about when I get to that part, because that'll be the last one I'm talking about. And looking at this storyline, we get some really crazy things in it. The first thing is we just get to see where everyone is about a year after the events of season 3. And the one thing that I was a little confused by was the fact that Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve were all still in high school. I thought that they were finished with their senior year and going into college, but I don't know, it might have just been a miscommunication in season 3 and something I may have just missed a little bit of. But still, I think that that's just such a minor thing. I didn't really care. But looking at everything else in this storyline, the major stuff and not just like a little thing that I think was not really well communicated. I think that, yeah, this is a really interesting storyline, and looking at it, it is extremely interesting to really go and see how things have changed, and it is really unique. They have, as I said before, Lucas wanting to go and join the basketball team, but everyone else is, sort of saying the same. They are trying to, just be themselves and don't care about being the most popular kids in the school. And that is a nice thing to do and have a message of course, to be yourself and not trying to blend in with the popular kids, which is always a little cliche. It's a good message to have. Yeah, with it, I think this is really interesting because Whether we have these different storylines and we get the character of Eddie, and with him, you really feel sorry for this guy because he connects the character of, I believe it's Victor Creel, who's the father, and he's basically getting blamed for murders he did not commit and is now being witch hunted through the town. Yeah, with it, I think it is really interesting and to see him basically be the first witness to Return of Everything. Yeah, I think that was really nice. And looking at the other characters, I think it's really nice to have this group together of basically everyone who knows about it teaming up together with Nancy, Jonathan, not Jonathan, Steve. We have, of course, the new one being Eddie. And then we have the kids that are there right now. Besides, sort of Erica, who does join, is either in the end of the episode 6 or beginning of episode 7. Again, I watched all of these basically in a row. I took a little bit of a break because I was asked to do something in episode 6, I think. But besides that, I fully watched these episodes straight through. And yeah, as I said, I've basically been watching TV all day. Just watching this in Kenobi, which I can complain. It was a great day. But yeah, I haven't had really any time to do anything else. And I'm so glad I thought ahead and made videos for today. It was originally, well, I mean, technically yesterday, since I did have to change my release schedule, as I mentioned earlier in the video. Yeah, with this, the storyline was extremely interesting as we continue them discovering more and more and learn that people who are suffering from severe traumas have been targeted. And with this, it is really interesting to see how Max is being targeted and they need to find a way to go and rescue her before Vecna, or honestly, that's a name I am not going to be remembering, so I'm just going to go by his code name, which is 1 or Henry Creel. I did say there's going to be spoilers, so it's kind of on you for this if you have been watching, and I'm just going to go with him as Creel for the rest of it, and I will separately be talking about his father by his name if I do mention him. But with this, I think that he is extremely interesting to be as a villain, and although some people do think he's going to be defeated at the end of this season, I know season 5 is intended to be the final season of this, and I think that's when they're going to be taking him down, and there's going to be a major cliffhanger at the end of the season where he's able to beat back 11 and the rest of them, although the main fight will be with 11, or she won't be able to get there in time, and we will see the Upside Down fully open up into Hawkins, and there'll be a ultimate war for the final season where it's not even going to be going into, I'm guessing, the mystery aspect. It's going to be fully about the war to go and take down Creel and his army, because I think he's being set up to be the ultimate villain of Stranger Things. But I'll be mentioning why once we continue on to the part revealing who he is. Yeah, with this, as he's turning to the people of the community, we cut between this and the storyline with the basketball players, and you can see how they are going into full witch hunt mode, which was extremely interesting since we see them go to the town hall and prepare a witch hunt and see how the cops are barely being able to handle this. And really, it depends on how they're going to want to go after. I'm talking about Hopper, because once he returns, assuming he doesn't die, the same with Joyce, I don't think they will die, but just assuming that it does happen, I think that Joyce is and Hopper could go to either California or remain in Hawkins. And either way, I think it will be interesting, but I definitely think the chief of police will be willing to step down with how crazy things are and may even be killed because these cops just are not prepared for this because of how crazy things are. I think it is interesting to see them all being questioned by the police, and it's interesting. This is the first time it's happened since over the 3 seasons. They've been doing a lot of suspicious stuff, and in the first 3 seasons, they're never really questioned by the police. There is some stuff where Hawkins' lab goes after them, but as we can see, that's sort of a rogue faction of the government. It's kind of hard to tell, and depends on the people in there, but it seems that both people in charge of it were not working in the government's best interests and basically working for themselves. But I'll be mentioning that with the 11 storyline. And continuing on with this one, I just think it's really interesting to see where they have it all set up and they are revealing what's going on with the Upside Down and how it's connected, realizing how the portals work and how Creel is able to go and open them up wherever he has it. And even though they think that he is the lieutenant for the Mind Flayer, I'm guessing that he's the creator of the Mind Flayer. Again, I'll be talking about all of that in a few minutes. When you're looking at this first storyline, I think that's really all I have to say. And now it's time to move on to the second one. And this one will be, well, I think we could go either way. I'm going to take a look at the one with Joyce and Hopper. Since these are happening around the same time, I'll take a look at the Hopper one first, since it is a little shorter to talk about, and it's not much. It's just his escape attempt, and this is severely part of the Joyce arc, and it's basically, one action leads to the other, so I think I'm going to talk about them together. And this all starts off with Joyce getting a package from Russia where she finds a creepy doll in it, and with this being suspicious, she calls Murray, and once Murray doesn't talk to her, she is told she smashed it in case if there's any listening devices or explosives in it, since the KGB does want her and is preparing to kill her most likely for what they have done in Hawkins' lab under Starcourt Mall, not the one that the experiments were originally done in, but with this, it is extremely interesting to see what's going on here since Hopper is using one of the guards, who is a really nice guy, to go and just try to communicate with Joyce and lead to his escape. And I think, yeah, the character Dimitri was really nice and a good character to have, since they need to, make Hopper's escape believable and giving a sympathetic character, especially with the Soviet Union, with most people assuming everyone on the other side is just evil, is a really good way to go. And he is a good character and really does hope for the best with Hopper. But he ultimately makes a mistake trusting Yuri, who is the pilot, and Yuri meets Joyce and Murray in Alaska, where he goes and kidnaps them and leads the guards of the Russian prison to both the location of Hopper and the fact that Dmitri is a traitor, and this gets them sentenced to death to die at the hands of the Demogorgon. Although Hopper is able to figure this out, since he's been slowly learning Russian, and with the description they've given and the fact that he knows the experiments have been going on into the Upside Down by the Russians, he's able to figure out it's a Demogorgon and make up a plan. And this time, Joyce and Murray are able to escape from Yuri and take him prisoner, so they could sneak into the Russian base. And once they get inside, they are able to help Hopper escape, although they have set things up for the Demogorgon to escape. Since, when looking at it, you see that they turned off the electric fence, and they'll eventually be able to let him escape, since this is an extremely obvious example of Chekhov's gun, which is basically you don't put something in a movie or show and make sure you emphasize on it without having it mean something. And with them showing the electric fence being turned off, that's clearly going to lead to the Demogorgon escaping. And with it, we finally get a nice shot of Joyce and Hopper reuniting. But that is the ultimate end to that story arc. And I almost forgot to mention one of the other ones from the previous one, which is when the teens are trapped in the Upside Down. And with that, it's mainly a interesting one, with it being revealed that it is all trapped into the night that Will disappeared. And I'm guessing it's also the night that the portal to the Upside Down was opened. Although I'll be talking about that again when I go over the 11 stuff. Yeah, with this, I think that was an interesting storyline, although it's just meant to be a little tie-in. And we talk about the big reveal with everything about the identity, which I have already mentioned, it being Creel and the sun. I will be mentioning that soon, but I'm just going to go over one more storyline, which is the one with the bunch of characters, including Mike, Jonathan, Will, Jonathan's friend Argyle, and a quick stop in of Dustin's girlfriend, Susie. And yeah, with that, I think that was also extremely interesting to see, since it is a unique way to look at it. I think it was interesting to see how they were going and basically having to react to everything happening to 11. Because starting off, they are with 11, and she goes and attacks a bully at school, someone who's been really treating her badly, and even though you can't agree, well, sympathize with 11 and why she has attacked this girl, it still is wrong from a legal perspective, and it makes sense that she is arrested and put into the system. And with that, we get to this storyline that's following them, with 11 deciding to go and go into the lab to get her powers back. Although she doesn't know what's waiting her there, we see her go and leave them, but Mike is really regretting having a fight with her before she left and before she was arrested. With this, he decides to go and look out for a way to help, and he quickly realizes things are getting bad with the rest of them when they are attacked by soldiers who seem to be just working for the US government, even though it could be the other way around, and it could just be a rogue faction in the US government. They're not 100% certain on that, although it seems that the US government as a whole is against what they're doing because of the secretive way everything is being set up in the 11 storyline, which I will also be briefly mentioning. And, well, I'll be really mentioning that soon, but I'm just briefly mentioning it right now. Yeah, with this, it is really interesting to see what was going on here as they are slowly figuring everything out. They lose one of the guards and they are forced to bury him, with the other one being killed. It is pretty sad, and the other thing interesting is they have to go across the country. Not across the country, but they have to go to, I believe it was Nevada, to go and find Susie, and conveniently the bunker that Eleven is in is close, although once they discover it, I don't think we see anything else from them, and they'll probably be showing up in the next episode. And to mention on the extremely brief storyline, which I think was only shown through 2 scenes of what happened to the other guard. He is taken and tortured by what I'm just going to say is the US government in this one. I'm not 100% sure, or if this is just two rogue factions of the government going to war with each other. I'm guessing that is most likely what's going to happen, since it was pretty extreme tactics they were using. Although it could just be because of this is the Cold War era, and I am not fully sure what things were like at that time, or even what they're like right now with interrogations. And although I think they're going to be not doing as much torture, but I'm not fully sure because, well, they weren't really letting us know really well. So I know it could be still happening, but that's a completely different topic to be talking about. And you really have to feel sorry for this guy who was locked in a crate for, I think it was like 3 or 4 episodes. And I kind of have the episodes merging into one right now since I watched them all straight. So I'm not going to be able to 100% go with how this went by episode. And then we get to see with the 11 storyline Dr. Owens show up and rescue her from being taken to prison. And with this, she is offered to be taken to get her powers back, since something from the Upside Down, which we know to be Creel, is the killer, but she is convinced and goes with him, but quickly regrets things when she realizes that Brenner is actually alive. And although this was hinted at in season 2, no one really knew if it was the truth or not, unless it was revealed by a creator. I'm not fully sure. But with it, you are just wondering if he is alive and how he survived, and although it is not shown, we get much more revealed about Eleven's past, as she's put into a simulation where she has to keep replaying different memories, and it is mainly the first memory she has to keep repeating because she doesn't really know what's going on. And with it, we get a flashback to the past, sees them as she is being mentored and obviously manipulated by a scientist who is working there. And although you don't know what the person's intentions are, it eventually leads to the death of all these children and workers at the lab, with everyone besides really Brenner being killed. And with it, it is pretty interesting to see what is going on. And even though you know that she's being manipulated and this guy's only evil, unless you went and, because with this I didn't really look at the casting or anything, and didn't see that this was the same guy who was playing the villain, so I was, pretty surprised by the twist because I felt like he was behind something, and I was surprised to see that he is actually the child and that he is actually both the one and the monster killing everything, but also the fact that he is there setting everything up and most likely either created the Upside Down in terms of everything that happened in the reality, since it was sort of created by 11, or he was, I'm guessing, potentially sent to a parallel world where he went and quickly conquered it. And I'm not sure how long this is set before Stranger Things season 1, because I think that this happens one of two ways. I think that because we get it shown that 11 really hasn't had too good of a grip on her powers and has been having a hard time connecting with them, that all the flashbacks we have previously seen of her take place after this scene, although I am not 100% sure, or she escapes in this scene and the corruption of the Upside Down happens extremely fast. And I am not fully sure about it, but my best guess is that this might be a parallel world that is completely conquered by Creel, and he wants to do the same to his home dimension. Although, again, I cannot be certain about this, and I'm wondering how this connects to the night that Will disappeared, and then maybe because that is the first night that they were able to connect the two dimensions, or it's because that is the night that the Upside Down was truly created, the portal was opened by 11, and with that, the world was frozen in the state that it was at that time. Yeah, I think that is an interesting thing to think about, because I am not really sure how much time passes with it. I really like that reveal. I think it was well handled. And even though you know there's something up with the guy, as long as you, well, don't know the casting, it's a pretty big surprise to know it's that much of an extent and how he's behind so much. And with it, I think he could be behind either creating beings like the Mind Flayer and all the other beasts like the Demogorgons and stuff. It's either that or if they want to keep the Mind Flayer as the main villain still, we could have it be that he went there and basically saw his goals aligned with the Mind Flayer and planned to go and conquer the world with the Mind Flayer because he wanted to go and end all life. And yeah, with that, I think that is some of the ways it could go. I am interested to see where this goes, but this is at 35 minutes, and I'm just gonna be working on the Kenobi review tomorrow morning because it's already 10:40. And honestly, I just kind of, want to take a break. I'm not gonna stream anything. Well, you already know that by now because yeah, it's 10:40, and honestly, I just kind of don't want to work on any other videos, but my Kenobi review will be out later today after I record it and edit it because, yeah, I just have not had the time right now to record it and don't really want to record it right now because I'm kind of tired and spent maybe the last hour working on this since I had to do a bunch of cuts. So I kept getting interrupted. And then I have a lot of time to edit it because I'm going to be doing a recap and a review. So that's going to take some time also. So I really do hope you enjoy. I really enjoyed this season. And the only reason the Kenobi video is not going to be as long as this one, although it's going to be a little more better edited because I'm looking into doing a few other things with it. I am really excited and loved Kenobi. I'll just say that. And yeah, I really loved this season so far. I can't wait to see if this continues. Please let me know what you think in the comments. What are your predictions for the end of the season? Yeah, let me know, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.